a playlist original.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Back to the Blockbuster with your hosts, Gaius and Jackson, coming at you with a news episode here. A big update today, as we had, I think, a week in between our last one, a couple episodes recently, some anniversaries, and our first ever director showcase episode about Scott Cooper's career. You guys can check it out on the channel. So, without further ado, big 2 weeks worth of industry news to throw at you guys. And Gaius, I know you got the names in front of you, but Knives Out 3, Netflix original, which has been long awaiting after Glass Onion last year, has added a bunch of names to the cast, and I'm excited. Some I've heard, some I haven't, so this is just as much news to me, but take it away.
Well, yeah, I also while it is kind of I guess a fun, nice way to like reveal these like one or two at a time each day, I kind of wish it was done in one big announcement. Yeah. I'm wondering after I get each name, I was like, all right, is it done? Is that like I'm looking at the ensembles for like the last two, and I'm like, all right, that many people are in it. Is it kind of close to like how many people were in like the first two? It feels like it might be done now, but like
who knows,
don't know for sure.
Man. Yeah,
don't know for sure. It started last week, and like all very good people attached to it. We also like what we learned first was that the official title is Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. Ryan Johnson has famously said that he hates that he has to add a Knives Out mystery to the title, but that is I guess Netflix decision.
Really?
Because Netflix wants them to know, like people to know, like this is a Knives Out sequel or movie. And he rather just named them he would have just named the last one Glass Onion. I guess he would have just named this one Wake Up Dead Man. But yeah,
I agree with him for that. That adds quite the mouthful to the title, which is never appealing.
So they go. I guess they go with that for they want the branding to be there, and they want to make sure people know that they're watching a sequel.
Of course, they are a corporation after all. Netflix knows best.
Yep.
That is driven sarcasm, in case you couldn't tell.
Tell.
But on the note for the names, I gotta say these are some of the biggest ensembles, like these three movies, that I can think of off the top of my head. Like obviously ensembles that in the nature of them, they involve a lot of A-list talent, big names, but man, are there ever so many great talents working on these movies, which I can only imagine contributes to that big budget of the movie. Because this and the second one were split. They were greenlit for $500 million between the two of them. Is that right?
Yeah, close to that, somewhere in there.
Yeah, crazy numbers. So I imagine a lot of that is to afford this A-list talent. And are they ever putting it to good use? I'll give them credit for that.
Yeah, and also, at least using the first two movies as an example, everyone looks like they're having fun. Like this is like that's what I loved about, the first. I keep going back and forth about which one I enjoyed more because I thought they were both really good. I know some people give like a slight edge to the first one, but there was stuff in the second one I thought was really good. And watching people like Edward Norton actually like have fun because he has like he has like a rep sometimes for not being the easiest to work with, but I think he's gotten better. Of course, Daniel Craig will be back. He's been leading all these movies. And the first two have been announced. The first two that we got were Josh O'Connor and Kylie Spaney, who was just in Civil War. She's in Priscilla. Josh O'Connor was just in Challengers.
Yes, he was fantastic.
So that was a good start. The next day, we found out that Andrew Scott is going to be in the movie. He was in All of Us Strangers, which got him a lot of great notices. He was on the recently released Ripley show on Netflix as well. Big talent that a lot of people want to work with, so that was a good one. This one came out of nowhere, but a lot of people like her. Kerry Washington, like most famously being on Olivia Pope on Scandal, but she's also done some films and she's stayed working consistently since the show ended.
I'm excited for her.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The next day, we found out Glenn Close is going to be in the movie. She probably needs no introduction. I think she has 10 Oscar nominations, never won, but she's been
that many? I can't think of anything. I don't think I've actually ever seen a performance of her. She is in Fatal Attraction, though, right?
Yes,
which I know. I think we have coming up. Is that something we have slated for this year?
I feel like it might be. I think I brought it up to you. Like it's a really fun, cool movie. I mean, movie to watch. It's a lot. She is crazy in that movie.
I've always wanted to see that, and I don't think I've seen a Glenn Close performance, but to know she has 10 Oscar nominations is crazy. I would never have guessed that.
My mom always says when she talks about Fatal Attraction, she's like that movie in the '80s, like when it came out because it was so popular. But she was like, men, like women were looking at their men sideways, and then men were looking like, oh, I should maybe not cheat my wife ever because
Right.
you might meet the
I
wrong person.
miss the days, and I guess I wasn't even really around for many of them, but back when a movie like that would have such a cultural impact like that, at least over
Yeah,
here, when it would actually promote conversations amongst people that saw it. I miss the idea of those days. Just I feel like we
yeah,
don't have that
because
in
I
the
feel
streaming era.
yeah, we don't really have that much anymore. And like
No.
when people like my mom or anyone older talks about like certain movies that kind of hit and just like were like on the pulse of
Yeah.
being a pop culture movement, like it is kind of cool to think about and like kind of like when we talk about Batman '89 later this month, that's another one that I
Yeah.
wish I was like fully because I was only like 5 when that came out, so I definitely didn't know the impact about that until later, like reading about how
Right.
important that movie was when it came out as far as marketing like big budget movies.
Hmm.
But yeah, really good example. This edition I was excited for because he he basically is a real life superhero himself because he he was in that really crazy snowplow accident and had a remarkable recovery after that. But Jeremy Renner is also going to be in the movie. Cool
Wow.
callback to his face was on a hot sauce bottle in the second movie. So there's
Oh, okay.
there's
I don't
that.
remember that detail.
I don't I don't know if there'll be a connection to that, but yeah, he is also
Huh.
joined the cast as well. This next one got a bit of flack. Mila Kunis is joined the cast of the movie as well.
Is it
Um,
because well, no, she's Ukrainian.
yeah, no, I think
What's
the
the
problem
flack
is
about?
her and Ashton Kutcher used to be on that '70s show with Danny Masterson, and
Oh, of course.
when he was convicted of rape, they wrote letters of support.
I
You know,
forgot we covered that. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
During the sentencing phase, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, she supports rapists and all that." It's not. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not like widespread, but like of the casting, announcements that came out, this one was the one that people
Right.
side eyed a little bit.
When you said
Um,
that, my mind went to her nationality being like the conflict, and my brain thought maybe she was Israeli, and that was why it was. But then I remembered on the spot, like, no, she's Ukrainian. That must not be what it is. And then, yeah, completely forgot about the Danny Masterson thing. But that is unfortunate. Good, interested to see what they do with that and how that is all
yeah,
handled. Though acting wise, love Mila Kunis, so haven't seen her
yep,
really in
I do.
anything high profile in a while. So excited for that.
Yep. Also joining the cast, I don't know, I didn't know who this person was, but Daryl McCormick has joined the cast as well. I
Hmm.
guess he's known for the comedic drama "Good Luck to You, Leo Grande," which also starred Emma Thompson, and then he's on the Apple TV Plus series Bad Sisters, and he was in season 5 of P Blinders. I don't
Oh,
really, yeah, so I don't know much about him, but he's also going to be in Twisters in July. So,
love me some Peaky Blinders. I'm actually currently rewatching that show. I'm on
well,
season
nice.
3. Me and my girlfriend, I'm showing it her for the first time, and just a great,
Yeah,
great show for those that haven't watched it.
check it out. And the last one so far is Josh Brolin is also in the movie as well.
That is what I did not see. I'm just seeing that now. I'm on the IMDb page. Love to see that.
Yeah, so we don't know anything about the movie's plot, anything like that. But it does start production this month sometime, and they're shooting it in the UK. That's all we really know about it
Okay.
right now. I kind of do like that we don't know much about it yet.
Hmm.
I feel the way that they, and it seems like they learned how to do this marketing the second one a bit more, is that they are kind of just leaving like little breadcrumbs and not really showing you a lot or telling you a lot.
Keep
And like
that
yeah,
up.
it adds to the whole like kind of murder mystery plot that they're kind of playing around with. But yeah, good cast so far. We think this is it, but who knows? There might be more people announced tomorrow. Um, I do love that that Daniel Craig is like the central figure in these, and then they just swap out and put in a new cast, and it's like a whole new
Yeah.
you know like kind of Agatha Christie style,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, like
With a contemporary approach to it.
yeah, different
I dig
ensemble,
that.
yeah,
I would love to
but yeah.
see Rachel Weisz get casted, like his actual wife. I would love to see them
Oh
kind of
yeah, I mean,
spar back and forth on the screen.
I'm surprised that hasn't really been suggested uh unless they think it's just distracting. But yeah, would be fun to see that happen.
I think so too.
Um,
Maybe a fourth
there
installment.
now there were rumors, and they haven't been, and I think there might still be rumors. Some people they said that Tom Hardy and Lizzie Lohan were also attached to this, but that hasn't been announced yet.
You're totally right.
I
I did hear that through the grapevine and like completely forgot about it, but I thought that was actually legit now that you mentioned that, but I guess it's not. Interesting.
I know some people would love that. Lindsay Lohan is actually, all things considered, she has like huge Netflix deal now. Like she's turned her life around in a huge way. She's just had a kid. She's married, so I think she's in a good position to kind of. It's weird. Like she's been doing the Netflix stuff, so it's weird to say like have a comeback, but actual like theatrical movie release kind of comeback would probably be really good for her as well.
100%.
And then Tom Hardy, matching crazy accents with Daniel Craig's would be fun too. If Tom Hardy is, isn't it?
Yeah, he has a great role in Peaky Blinders where he has a very, very thick, I'm not sure what region of the UK, but accent, and he is a riot in that show.
Nice.
Love
that guy. That's one that I need to add to the list to check out. And
not a big lift.
And I did put on my story that I'm going to watch some of these shows this year or soon, and I asked, between like Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad, which one should I watch first? And Breaking Bad like won like by a lot.
That's what I would vote. I'm a huge advocate of both shows, but Breaking Bad has that distinction of being all around perfect, and it's about half the length of Game of Thrones too. So, or maybe not quite half the length, but like in terms of seasons, it's definitely shorter. Yeah, I'm excited. I didn't actually see that. I was not on social media a whole lot over the last few days, but if I had seen that poll, I would have voted the same way. I cannot wait for you to start that show whenever the time comes. I know
I feel like I'm gonna like message you and be like, and it's gonna be like old news to you because you've seen it. But I'll be like, this episode.
Oh, I will be chatting with you offline about where you're at and like kind of vicariously living through that show with you. And I'm excited, but you may as well. Just going to tell you right now, buckle up because I guess we'll wait and see how you think about the show. But Better Call Saul, the prequel show that came out, just wrapped up in 2022, I think, and I've heard just as well too, other people's opinions, just as good, if not better than Breaking Bad all around. And like no better time to watch that show than right after Breaking Bad. So I'm really hoping that you enjoy it. It's a great universe that Vince Gilligan has created, and there's a spin-off sequel movie too that's pretty good. So very excited to hear all that.
Yeah, I'm excited to jump into it because so many I still get. I mean,
the
comments and players, they're like,
you gotta be in on it.
I know, I gotta get into it. Otherwise, like I feel like they almost like they get like ruins by like I'm not like a legitimate like journalism, like entertainment journalist for not having watched them. I'm like, maybe I don't know. I'll definitely give them.
I get it. I mean, I can't really chide you too bad. There's definitely huge blockbuster shows that I have not watched either. So, but definitely want to mark off the list.
Yes. So we got more casting news as well coming up. I am going to butcher this guy's name, I think, or his last name. Is it Nicholas Galitzine?
I don't know of him, so I've never heard his name pronounced before.
All I know is that he has been in some rom-coms that have been really popular, but he is been officially set to play He-Man in the live-action Masters of the Universe movie. This has been in development for a while. I know Noah Centineo was attached to this for a little bit, and then he dropped out. But they're finally getting this done, and it's going to be released theatrically, but through Amazon MGM Studios. And Travis Knight is directing, and Travis Knight is a really good director. So like that part, I'm encouraged by it. He did make the only good Transformers movie in Bumblebee. So
okay, that's where I recognize his name from. And the guy's nominated for 3 Oscars.
Yeah. He's a lot of like stop motion stuff too. Like he's really really talented. So I'm looking forward to that.
Not to keep bringing it up, but Peaky Blinders creator is a Stephen Knight, and I'm just looking to see if they're related. I don't see anything on his IMDb page, but that's just a weird coincidence. Anyway, love Peaky Blinders, can't get enough of it. Excited for that. I didn't know this movie was in development. I guess it's slated for 2026. I like that. Yeah, there's at least some distance between it, so they can actually, hopefully, not be too pressed to make it, because too often now our movies just given not enough time to be made. So that's promising, I guess. I guess this Nicholas fella is the only person attached right now. I mean, cast wise. So still some work to do, but interesting. I'll keep my eye on that.
And some people were concerned that because I'll say what the stuff that he's been in first. He was just recently in the Anne Hathaway Prime Video rom com The Idea of You, where he played a pop star that she falls in love with after she sees his band in Coachella. That movie was it was their number one rom com debut of all time, attracting nearly 15 million worldwide viewers in its first 2 weeks on Prime Video. He also recently starred opposite Julianne Moore and Tony Curran and stars this historical drama Mary and George. And prior to that, he starred in Amazon MGM's highly popular queer rom-com Red, White, and Royal Blue, for which his sequel is already in development. So everyone's like, he's a rom-com guy. And they are like, He-Man is, he's supposed to be like ripped. And so there's concerns that like can this guy bulk up in time, and like anyone else that gets cast like this that doesn't really appear like they can do that. A lot of actors have been known to do that and do it well, and like I think he'll
surpass expectations.
I don't think he would go. I mean, they would have him be up for the role if he wasn't gonna do what he needs to do to look the part. So there's that. So like, don't worry, guys. I think he can lift some weights and get on some crazy diet. And I'm sure like at every press junket they'll ask him like, "Oh, what'd you do to like get in shape?" He'll be fine.
Probably more than a few maybe needles and pills in there too. Who knows? I know that's not an industry secret, but
that got dark. You're like, probably.
Some of those guys definitely juice. It can't be a surprise, but be interested to see what he looks like time to it.
Did you ever actually like? I grew up watching the cartoon and all that, but did you ever see the '80s Masters of the Universe?
Dolph
Lundgren. Yeah, Dolph Lundgren. Yeah, he's the lead.
Did he play He-Man?
Yeah. Just kind of funny considering Dolph Lundgren's accent back then was it was rough, but it's a fun movie. I mean, I know it wasn't considered good when it came out, but it's one of the things that it's got a cult following now.
So there's an '80s movie and an animated show, right? When is the animated show from? Was it like '60s or '70s or something?
No, animated show is also in the '80s.
Okay, was it like the same style of animation, or was it like a live action '80s movie?
No, so Masters of the Universe is live action. So live action.
I did not know that. Definitely not seen it.
So like He-Man and the Masters of the Universe started as popular action figures in 1982, and a year later, the animated series He-Man and the Masters of the Universe premiered. And I believe the live action movie came out in 87, 88, somewhere in there.
Okay. I was always familiar with the IP, like growing up, like, there was action figures and I would see clips from the show here and there, but I don't think I ever really like followed it as a kid, but I've always known of it but never, I don't think really, like digested the content, if you will. Excited. Like it was always, what's his, like the antagonist, is it called the Skull guy? Skeletor. Yeah. He was always badass. I loved him as a kid, even though I didn't really know much about what he was all about. Just his look was super iconic as a kid.
Yeah, and it looks great in the movie too. Like the movie is like 80s cheese, like
definitely, yeah, and then, in the best way.
But it's so fun. Like I'm not saying that it is a a definitive adaptation of this is something that started out as action figures. So like how definitive does it need to be?
Right.
But it's fun. I used to watch it so much as a kid and thoroughly enjoy it still.
Was that not also the case with the G.I. Joe? Was that not a toy line that spawned movies and shows?
Transformers,
Transformers as well. Yeah. Okay.
That's a good segue to the next story. I think you did that on purpose.
I'm on to something. I didn't notice it was the next thing we had written down, but I knew it was on the docket. But yeah, take it away.
Chris Hemsworth is in talks to join the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover movie that got teased at the end of Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Right now, just currently in talks. That's about it. This actually sparked a larger conversation because some people were saying, outside of Marvel, Chris Hemsworth has not proved that he should be handed big franchises because they haven't really made that much money. So he was in Men in Black International, that did poorly. He was just in Furiosa, which underperformed
big time.
Now these things are not his fault, of course, but like everyone's like, you put him in your movie and hoping that it'll make a lot of money. And I'm not taking anything away from him. I think he's a fine actor. He can do drama, he can do comedy. He's believable in a lot of different roles. But some people kept saying, why are they giving him the keys to these franchises if he can't prove himself outside of, at least financially, box office wise, prove himself?
Right.
How do you feel about that?
Interesting. I have not heard this criticism. I know the news is quite new, but I understand looking at that like on paper and seeing like his more recent movies post Thor and in between the projects he did while the Thor movies were being made.
Yeah.
The numbers don't lie. Sure, absolutely. No, the movies outside the MCU that he's made have not nearly had that box office success. But then again, I think that is, I agree with you. I don't think any of those are his fault. He's been great in those roles. I mean, I'll set Men in Black 3 aside. I haven't seen it nor care to. But like his Extraction movies on Netflix, I am huge on. I love those movies, love him in them. I think that's really his bread and butter. That's what I want to see Chris Hemsworth do. So I buy him in this franchise. I think regardless of the box office numbers, he alone, aside from those movies, is a huge draw from his time in the MCU, and that will bring people to go see him. I mean, at least a few, I imagine. And I mean, the Transformers movies are quite popular anyhow, so that is just kind of, going to double that. I agree with. I'm not surprised to see him still get these high profile roles. I agree with you. I don't think that the poor box office performance of some of the movies he's been in post MCU are in any way his fault or even the filmmaker's fault. I think it's just, changing trends. Luckily for the MCU, those movies, at least the majority of them, the first 3 phases and maybe arguably the first 4, didn't have the exact same issues that box office or that new releases are having these days. And that is absolutely part of the conversation to be had.
And I think that was important to also, like you just mentioned, G.I. Joe and Transformers is already its own like big enough brand, and then to add him into that would certainly kind of help that box office potential. I think something like using Furiosa as an example is a more niche franchise, I guess. I mean,
totally.
And because they were talking about that movie, still, I think it dropped 59%.
Oh boy, you hate to see it.
I forgot what website broke down the attendance, but I think Fury Road, they said sold 5.3 million tickets in its opening weekend, and then Furiosa sold like 2.1. So like that was like that indicated that like did people really want that movie if admissions like were cut that much in seeing the prequel, like, or maybe people wanted a sequel more than they did a prequel, and then wanted. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons why that movie maybe didn't work for people, but yeah, I don't think he can be blamed for anything underperforming. Like,
again, too, on that note, like just comparing the pre-ticket sales, I think the distinction between the time those two movies came out 9 years apart has to be highlighted. Like 2015 is not the same box office landscape that 2024 is. A lot of those people who absolutely may have been massive fans of Fury Road might not also be the type of people that want to go see something in the theater opening weekend these days, because the tide has changed so much, and they know this movie is going to come to streaming at a time that might be more convenient for them to see it. And I'm sure it might not look like it box office wise, but I'm sure we'll see some streaming numbers about Furiosa that will back up how many people are still fans of that and that came back to watch it. It just won't be, unfortunately, at the box office. So it's unfortunate it came 9 years later. That's all.
Or maybe that's another problem. Maybe they waited too long. I mean,
boy, did they ever! I think it had some issues though that like tied up the production of that movie. I can't remember. I watched a video that broke down a bunch of everything wrong with or why Furiosa was flopping, and there was like 10 solid, good arguments to be made, and I can't remember the details, but one of it had to do something to do with the rights, and it was tied up and just couldn't be developed for X amount of years, and that's why it took so long. But oh well, it is a big clusterfuck of reasons, no doubt. But sad news for the movie and the box office, regardless.
Yep, I agree. But I mean, but you're right though. Something like G.I. Joe Transformers crossover feels right for Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah,
like
the guy's an action star.
Yeah, he thrives in those kind of movies. So, and like you said, a good example being like the Extraction movies. I mean, he's perfect for that part. So
he was my favorite part of Furiosa too. I loved his character Dementis.
Oh, he was great. Yeah, he was
excited to see what he would. I don't know what. Not sure if it's known what his character in this crossover is teased to be, but I would love to see him kind of continue a villainous streak because he is so entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, more casting news. This one's interesting because
this is interesting.
This makes me also worried about another movie he's attached to. Another movie being that Mahershala Ali, has been attached to Blade since 2019 when they announced it at Comic-Con.
Oh boy!
For all you guys that know, that movie has gone through starts and stops. Some of it related to COVID, and then script changes, director changes, the strikes, more writing changes. I think it's suffering another delay because of writing. That could be why that Mahershala Ali is in talks to join the next Jurassic World movie, and that makes people worry about the status of Blade because this would start, I think, shooting either this month or next month. So that means if he did join this movie, there's no way he's starting Blade anytime soon.
No.
However, I'm still, we've broken down like a lot of the casting for this movie, beginning with Scarlett Johansson and Gareth Edwards being a director on this. We have both said that we don't think we need another Jurassic World movie.
No.
But they are throwing stuff at us to be like to at least make us interested in maybe it being decent. So far. So that's, I still don't think we need one.
No.
But so far, I think who else is Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey is attached to this movie as well. Rupert Friend, they just cast him. You got Gareth Edwards, you got the original writer of the first movie writing it. I don't know. I'm still not. I don't think we need it, but I'm intrigued by what they're throwing at us. So.
I just love the dinosaur carnage that comes with these movies, and last year's 63 aside, there is Jurassic Park World, whatever universe you want to call it, has pretty much a stranglehold on the dinosaur live action content in the theaters these days, or in movies in general. So, love them or hate them, it's still fun to see. I'm a fan virtually of all the Jurassic Park movies that I have seen, some more than others. Like Jurassic Park, the OG, I will always hold in the highest esteem. Nothing has come close to it since, but all its flaws aside, I think Jurassic World is very entertaining. I've gone back to it since seeing it. I will probably watch it again for sheer entertainment value. There's nowhere else you could see, genetically modified T-Rex looking dinosaurs eat people. Like, I just love that. That inner child in me just finds that so awesome. I liked, for the most part, it was definitely more divisive, but the sequel to Jurassic World, was entertaining. I stayed away from the third entry, but if this was going in a new direction with the names attached to it, I will probably give it a chance. So it's kind of like a guilty pleasure at this point.
Yeah, when they when they made Jurassic World, and then I saw that, I was just surprised by how good it was. I think out of all the sequels, or whatever you want to call them, like
post Jurassic Park one,
it's the best one after the first one. I think
I agree,
and that's including the Steven Spielberg made that second movie. I still don't like it. It's way too long.
Yeah, I enjoy it, but it's not.
And God, I hate that whole tacked on San Diego T-Rex thing.
Yeah, we beg to differ on that one. I think that's kind of cool. I like how they integrate, or I like at least the idea of how they integrate dinosaurs into humanity more in the Jurassic World movies than in the Lost World. But to each their own.
Yeah, and then the third one, I was I don't think it's a great movie by any means, but it's like 90 minutes. It gets straight to the point. It's more dinosaur action than like. That's what they were going for after the second one.
Mm-hmm.
It works.
Just some iconic scenes.
Yeah, it works for what it is. Fallen Kingdom, I don't hate it either. I think it's entertaining, but I always have been like amazed by the total shift in that movie, because the last 20, 30 minutes feels like a horror film for no reason. And then Dominion, I almost fell asleep. So that tells you.
Dominion, I probably will never watch. It seems absolutely garbage.
Yeah, so I was especially mad when they took like the really good thing about Fallen Kingdom, which was that ending that teased something much better, and really got rid of that within like the first few minutes. And I was like, oh, well, you had that perfect little button right there to start this one. Instead we get flying locusts and boredom. So there you go.
They last Jedi'd it.
Yep. So but keep throwing people like this at us. I might be okay with another dinosaur movie, I guess. So there you go. Oh, and I guess more casting news too. Oh,
yeah.
like
Just on the note, I wanted to tie this back into Blade and Mahershala Ali. When he was cast, I'm a big fan of the. I've only ever seen the first two Blade movies. Loved Wesley Snipes as Blade, and if we were gonna have to get a Blade remake, I can't think of a better casting than Mahershala Ali. You know, 2-time Oscar winner. The guy is phenomenal actor. I think he would totally encapsulate the character. So, as much as I'm not really pining for more MCU at this point, if this was going forward, he is the guy I'd want in the driver's seat. So, if it's gonna be made without him, then I'd say my interest would plummet. I really want to see him in that role if we're going to get it. So that's kind of disappointing, but I think he's a good addition to the Jurassic World. Is it Jurassic World sequel, or is it like completely, is it spin-off unrelated?
Every trade keeps labeling it different. Like even ours, I'm different. Every time I've written about it, I've called it something different. So I don't really know. Even though we're not talking about this movie right now, this has made me think of it. We got like a few emails. I think Lionsgate is releasing The Crow, and they told everyone to not refer to that movie anymore as a reboot or remake. Because I was like, I think they see the negative connotations around Crow being remade, and how because the original movie is so beloved by a lot of people.
You can't do that. That's not how this works.
It almost, but that. When I got the email, I was like, "Well, do they think people are dumb and they don't know?" Whatever. I mean,
you can't just say we're rebooting something or remaking something, but we're not identifying it as a remake. That is you can't. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so I was like, "All right, we'll go."
Still excited for that movie, though.
That also reminds me when Paramount and oh god, why am I blanking on who bought the rights for Scream? But anyway, when Paramount sent emails when we were calling 2022 Scream 5 because it is. And they're like, no, can you drop the 5 from anything you write about it?
Right.
As if they were trying to fool people to be like, all right, it's not the 5th movie in the franchise, but they were all about calling Scream 6. So I don't understand the difference there, unless they're like, we want to see if this like new Scream does well, and then we can
worry about that after.
Call it what it is. But yeah, I think it's silly. I think it's just like it gives the impression that they think the audience is not smart. I guess
wouldn't be the first time studios kind of held that opinion, but it's funny. It's complete 180 if you ask me. This, as audience members and film lovers, more often than not, I feel like it's the studios making the dumb decisions than trying to pull one over on the audiences. But who knows?
Yeah. And other casting news. Glen Powell is in every movie now. I've just accepted it, and this is how things are going to be. And he's deserving of it. I mean, I actually read, he's done a lot of articles. A lot of stuff's been written about him lately, but I think it was the GQ article. He's 35 years old, and he's been doing this for a bit, but he didn't really hit big until like recently. It was with Top Gun Maverick. That was like the thing that really like shot him into where he is now. But he had done other movies before that. He'd done TV. But he was saying how like he appreciates that he's finding this success at the age he's at now because he can accept it better and value it better. I mean, this is not someone that wants to live in Los Angeles anymore. He is going, I forget where hometown he's from, but he wants to be closer to his parents. He feels that he's comfortable enough in like his career to do that. So like, it seems like he has like a good head on his shoulders and like is not, undeserving of all this like attention that he's getting. I know the internet is kind of making it seem like he's getting too much attention. Like why is he and everything?
Yeah.
But he is adding to his lineup and stuff. He's going to be in a remake of Heaven Can Wait. It's going to be written by Stephen Geigen, who wrote Traffic in 2001, an Oscar for that. I didn't know anything about this original movie. I think I only knew like basic plot points, but I had no idea that it was a big awards season movie too. It got nominated for Best Picture and a bunch of other stuff.
And it won something here. I'm on its IMDb page. Let me tell you in just 1 minute, because I had only ever heard the title of this movie, did not know anything about it. But it won. Oh, Warren Beatty won for acting a lead role in 1979.
So yeah, it was nominated for 9 Oscars total as well.
Oh no, I'm wrong. Sorry, I'm completely wrong. But let me back up here. Sorry, one for Best Art Direction and Set Decoration. My bad.
Oh yeah,
my bad.
Okay, yeah.
Apologies. Well, anyway, nominated for 9. So pretty.
Yeah,
crazy.
but Warren Beatty, like he started it, he directed it along with someone named Buck Henry. He co-wrote the script as well, which also got nominated. And in the movie, such a wild plot. In the movie, a Los Angeles Rams quarterback accidentally taken away from his body by an over-anxious angel before he was meant to die returns to life in the body of a recently murdered millionaire. Sounds interesting. I've never seen it, but they've done this concept before in 1941. It was called "Here Comes Mr. Jordan," and I did see this. I'm not proud of it, but in the 2000 comedy "Down to Earth" with Chris Rock, he plays a comedian in it. And they said this new version apparently won't be a straight remake, as the main character will not be a football player, but will feature the same concept of a man plucked away before his time. I was like,
then why are we calling it a remake?
I know.
Oh man, the industry will never make sense to me and how studios decide these things. Like,
you know what that sounds like? It sounds like, hey, I kind of like the plot of Having Can Wait, so let's like kind of take like some of those plot threads and like make it our own, but we won't call it a remake
to avoid being called out for copying it.
Yeah, I think it's silly, but the cons just reading that out loud, like even though that the plot sounded kind of ridiculous, it also sounds really interesting. I'd never seen Having Can Wait. Now I'm kind of interested in maybe checking it out. But yeah, I'm trying to keep track of all of Glen Powell's work right now. But he has Hitman coming out on Netflix this Friday, which got a lot of like really great reviews.
Right, Richard Linklater. Love that.
Yep. He has Twisters coming out in July, and then he's also attached to the A24 revenge drama Huntington, Edgar Wright's adaptation of The Running Man, and a new film from J.J. Abrams, but we don't know what that movie is. We just know it's a new film from J.J. Abrams. He has like a lot of stuff in development, and there's also stuff he did turn down. He in the article he said that he was offered something in Jurassic World, the new one that they're doing, but he turned it down, not because he thought the script was bad. He said the script was good, but he said that him being in it wouldn't make the movie better, so he turned it down. He has no interest. He has no interest in really joining the MCU, so there's that. He doesn't really want to do any superhero movies. He said the one person that he would be interested in playing is maybe Batman, but that's it.
I did see that. Yeah, and that would be awesome.
But yeah, so yeah, there's stuff that he's staying away from that. Like if you guys watch this on YouTube, just got Jackson's seal of approval, no MCU, and no superhero movies.
Yeah. Hey, that's Leonardo DiCaprio's advice to Timothy Chalamet, and look how his career's gone.
Very true. But yeah, keep going, Glen Powell. Seems like he deserves it. So
yeah, love. I'm totally here for his rising star right now. Actually, on that note, I did see a sort of, I guess you could call it like a compilation video recently of a bunch of actors that, quotations here, you didn't know were in the Spy Kids series, and Glen Powell as a child was in that, and I had only seen like the first one, I think, as a young lad. But that was really interesting to see, and he's the spitting image of his young self. He looks the exact. You would definitely be able to see him and be like, that is Glen Powell. So super interesting. I did not know he was around that long.
He said that's one of the best. Like, he's one of those actors that it doesn't seem like he like looks back at something like, oh, I did that. Like, he commented very favorably about doing that movie. Robert Rodriguez said that he knew then when he was that young that he was going places. So there's that as well. He also brings up his little moment in The Dark Knight Rises. I forgot that he was in that, but
was he the stockbroker guy?
That gets his face smashed.
That's right. That's super cool.
So he also almost got. He said he was really close to getting Josh Hartnett's role in Oppenheimer, but barely missed out on it. So
that would have been nice. But I love Josh Hartnett in the movie, but
so yeah, it seems like he has a good head on his shoulders and understands. Mm-hmm. It's good that he is finding success now at this age. Because maybe if he was in his 20s, it might be a totally different thing for him. Yeah,
I'm very excited to see him in Twisters this summer whenever that comes out. I know it's like July or August.
I think it's a week before Deadpool and Wolverine, actually.
Oh, okay, sweet.
So competition. This next bit of news, I'm okay with it because I don't think the original or the remake are like classic, but they're fun. But
you don't think the remake or the OG is a classic?
I mean, not like so. Like
I'm not saying this out of like I haven't seen it. I would have assumed that it kind of had that status, but
no. Like I guess like. By the way, we're talking about My Bloody Valentine. Just
that's right.
I think of it this way. I think Halloween's a classic, and when they remade that, I was like, But there's certain horror movies that are good and entertaining, but there could be room for improvement.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I agree.
So like something like Friday the 13th, I was okay with them remaking that. I was okay with them remaking Black Christmas. Not that I think that
that movie
needs
was
improvement.
good. No,
but what I'm saying is like I was wondering what they could do with that in a contemporary setting, and like, but they fucked that up twice. So
big time.
But yeah, they are remaking My Bloody Valentine, which is a 1981 Canadian slasher film.
Oh,
All we know is that Blumhouse is developing it, and that's all the news that Bully Disgusting had on it right now. But despite only grossing $5.7 million on a $2.3 million budget, it has a huge cult following. It was remade in 2009 as a 3D horror movie that ended up grossing $100.7 million globally on a $14 million budget. It is fun. It was very fun to see in 3D. I think that was the first 3D movie I saw, if I can think back correctly on that. I'm okay with the remaking it.
I'm not surprised or upset.
It's the Blumhouse Association. It's like I used to love Blumhouse, and it seems like Blumhouse is just this year so far between Night Swim, which I finally watched. I forgot to tell you about that. Like, I finally watched it.
Oh boy, was I right or was I wrong?
You were right, and I'm even mad that I even wasted even my little bit of time before going to bed last week.
Please add a letterbox review. I want to read your thoughts.
It was so bad, and then of course I saw Imaginary at a press screening, and that wasn't good either. So I don't know. Like I'm not saying they never hit. They do. I mean, some people, yeah.
Much more inconsistent these days. I would say 2020s onward is they're in their inconsistent era, whereas Blumhouse was, pretty. I don't want to say bulletproof, but like pretty accurate or consistent throughout the 2010s. Right. But yeah, nowadays you never know what you're going to get with that studio. My one piece of advice to them would be to keep this movie like in a period setting, like because like the original. And I don't know about the remake, but it's centered around like a coal miner, right? Is like the slasher villain. Like keep it there. I don't really want to see a contemporary version of this movie. I think like its bread and butter, its wheelhouse is like set in a coal mining town being plagued by a slasher, like with a pickaxe as a weapon. Like that sounds awesome. I doubt that'll happen, but.
And the killer has a really cool look. I mean, like you said, describing really, it's a fun horror movie. And I'm surprised, like, it's interesting that the remake doesn't get talked about a lot in terms of like being a decent horror movie remake. And it made money. I mean, it didn't flop by any means, but it doesn't. I mean, it came out 15 years ago, and a lot of people don't really discuss it like the way they discuss all the other remakes from that era.
It's a good point. I never hear about the remake.
But yeah, it's fun. Jensen Ackles is in it from Supernatural.
And the boys, of course.
and the boys as well. And Jamie King's in it. There's a few fun people at the movie, and it's gory, it's fun, and it was in 3D. It was amazing.
Answer me this, because I don't know, having not seen either one, and I just don't know this about that series, if you can call it that. But is it supernatural in any capacity, or is it like
no?
Okay, it's like your straight up slasher.
Yeah, straight up slasher movie. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. I just never knew.
I'm cool with them doing it. So we'll see what they can do. I just hope Blumhouse is like, we'll make stuff on the cheap, and like, those movies that I just complained about, Night Swim and Imaginary, they all turned a profit. So I mean, because they cost nothing to make. So I mean, but that doesn't mean that you just knowingly throw out shit. And I feel like sometimes they dump shit.
Yes, they throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, and then then make 3 copies of it. Yeah. Oh, well. Some other interesting news, though, from that studio involving our good friend Mike Flanagan, horror fans, very associated with him. I know it's kind of been talked about, rumored, and then he was in talks, like kind of publicly, about taking over the reins for the recently purchased Exorcist series. It looks like he's now officially directing not the sequel to Exorcist Believer that, fell in fantastical fashion last year, but however they're going to go about the next movie in that series, it will be helmed by him. I think that still remains to be seen. Really excited about what he'll do, because that guy has not missed when it comes to horror movies and shows. In my opinion, I think he's definitely one of the leading voices in the genre. But what do you think? What do you mean? I know we kind of chatted about it while it was rumored, but now that it's official, what's your take on him kind of taking the reins?
I mean, this is the only thing that would probably get me back on board. With doing it. So
exactly. Me too.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited that this is not a sequel to Believer. What they said, it's going to be a radical new take. They are dumping what that planned trilogy, whatever that was, that is no more. That's no more. So what David Gordon Green and his team were trying to do and what story they were going to try to tell, that's not happening anymore. I'm okay with that because it was so bad. I mean, you know what's interesting about that movie? Because I think everyone's entitled to their opinion, but there are some like critics that I respect that liked it, and I was just like, it have shitted on other stuff that was more enjoyable, like maybe. and that could explain a lot actually. But yeah, like I was just like, it had no tension. The acting was good, I give it that.
Okay.
But like they wasted Ellen Burstyn though. Like that was like she was barely
that
in it.
damn patriarchy. I'll never get over that line. I'll never get over that line. Having and never will see that movie, but I do think the premise of like saving the two girls and one being saved, one being content, that is a cool plot thread that I think would be awesome to be seen that executed better.
Yeah. And it's too bad that we didn't. And they got to get this right because they did acquire those rights for $400 million.
Oh boy, they are in the hole big time.
Yeah, they are. But yeah, like we said, Mike Flanagan he's no stranger to working with Blumhouse. At least as a writer, he did Oculus for them. Hush was a part of their lineup as well. Ouija, Origin of Evil, he did that, which got way better reviews than
the first installment. Yep.
Yeah, so he has a relationship with them at least, and they probably know what it's like to work with him at least as a writer. It'll be different as a director probably, but we'll see. He is writing the movie too, so he is involved.
Love that. That's great.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of a better way to save this series. Like there's no better pivot, no better combo that they could have come up with to really save what is left of this, massive financial gamble with the Exorcist IP. So if this doesn't work, I don't think anything else is going to save it. Mike is the guy, and I have complete faith in him. But that being said, he is definitely digging himself out of a hole that was left there for him. So that's a long climb ahead for him. But I know that he had some comments regarding Netflix, and in particular, I know that his movie Hush is sort of affected by what these comments are. I know that you know them. I don't. I want to hear them. So what did he say?
So as we know, we talked about on the show before. You can't find Hush anywhere right now because it was on the Netflix streaming service and they removed it. So there's no unless not that we're encouraging anyone to like illegally download movies. Unless you torrent it somewhere, you're not gonna be able to watch it. So because there's no physical copies of it anywhere. Like Netflix won't release them. And he said he has nightmare experiences trying to get Netflix to put out physical media of his stuff. And so it was addressed at the ATX festival where which is interesting because he's worked with Netflix a lot. He did Haunting of Hill House, the Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass. So he has worked with them a ton. And he said in those he had frequent conversations about them releasing stuff. He said, in the years I worked at Netflix, I tried very hard to get them to release my work on Blu-ray and DVD. They refused at every turn. It became clear very fast that their only priority was subscriptions and that they were actively hostile to the idea of physical media. While they had some lingering obligations on certain titles or had partnerships who still value physical media and had flirted with releasing juggernaut hits like Stranger Things, that wasn't at all their priority. In fact, they were very actively trying to eliminate those kinds of releases from their business model. This is a very dangerous point of view. Netflix will likely never release the work I created for them on physical media. I've tried for years, but have been met with the same apathy throughout.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Having heard those words,
that wasn't even sugarcoated either. You're like,
no,
very
not what I expected. These comments were going to be like, at least as harshly as he laid those out. But I'm not surprised to have heard that. It's just kind of like validates a position that I had feared was probably true from Netflix. And all I got to say is a physical media collector, movie lover, collector of what I consider art, like, is a fuck you to Netflix. Like, that is exactly the opposite of what a company in that position with that influence over this market should have. And that is inexcusable, unforgivable.
And the crazy thing is they built their company on physical media. I mean, it was all DVDs in the beginning.
Exactly.
So that is like the crazy part about this.
I hate them for that.
I mean, there's been a lot of weird Netflix news lately that like Ted Sarandos, who is the co-CEO of Netflix, he claims that if Barbie and Oppenheimer were released on Netflix, they would have been just as popular on that streaming platform as they were in theaters. And
give me a fucking break.
Those movies would not have had the same like cultural like that was an event, and that's the thing is that there are some good Netflix movies. There are a lot of bad ones, and the problem that they've even had, and the problem that they've had even with some of their good ones is so far nothing on that streamer when it comes out feels like an event. So I don't care if you tell everyone after the first weekend that like 30 million people watched it in like its first couple of days. That goes away after a while. Like people stop talking about those movies within a couple of weeks, and
exactly.
But no one stopped talking about Barbie and Oppenheimer in the weeks that it was making money. So no,
Oppenheimer's not a Best Picture winning movie if it was a Netflix original, hands down. So that is ridiculous. I gotta say, like every time I see Netflix's payment come out of my account, I get nauseous. I
cringe a little bit.
I do cringe. I die a little bit, and I only do it because there's some content on there that I can't get anywhere else. And so, kind of to that credit, it works. It keeps people staying for that content. But on the other hand, it can be taken just like that and removed, and you can't access it anywhere else. Like I'll probably never have. Sorry to bring it up again. I'll probably never have on hold a physical copy of the series of Peaky Blinders because it's a Netflix show, and that hurts. That sucks. I hate that. And part of me wants to just boycott Netflix, but I can't. It's hard. I've done it before.
There's so much on it. I mean, I wish I could, but I know it's part of work, so I can't really boycott Netflix.
There you go. When I'm not actively watching Netflix content, like when I'm invested in a show, I cancel my account. I'll do it all the time. I'll go 3-4 months without my Netflix because I'm not paying them for nothing. Like I hate doing it. I can't think of a bigger, more egregious like offender in the streaming kind of industry about at least that I support. But I gotta say, I hate to do it. It hurts me to do it, but maybe there's an ounce of hope that that'll change. At least they kind of they do have that partnership, like you kind of hinted at in Mike's quote there with Criterion, the Criterion channel. Like they do. I do have a couple Netflix original Criterion copies, like The Irishman and Marriage Story, and that is kind of a saving grace. But there's plenty of movies that'll never make it to the Criterion channel that are Netflix originals. That if they decide to just take that away, there's nothing us viewers can do about it, and that is a shame.
And it's not just true of them too. I mean, like I know so many people. I mean, because Challengers is already available on digital to rent and video on demand, which is crazy because I feel like I just saw it. But it made its money and like it's out there now, and a lot of people. And I think its streaming debut is going to be on MGM Plus, and I kind of forgot they even had a streaming service.
Yeah, me too.
But a lot of the people were saying that movie is like ripe for like a great 4K release, and we probably won't get it like as physical media. They are releasing like a bare bones kind of Blu-ray as Warner Brothers handled the international like release for them, but no extra features, no nothing, just the movie. So like there, I mean, it could have easily had a really good copy of that too. But like some of these deals happen, and that's not the priority for them to put out like a really badass physical copy of certain movies. But I will say this to make you happy if you are a fan of Hush. They said that there is a plan to bring a hard copy out for the movie soon, and it will be out on a new streaming home soon. He said, we took it back because I really value physical media, and Netflix, by policy, it does not work in their business plan. So we took it back. And he said, we do have a new home for it. I can't say where. I can say there will be a physical release and that there will be a lot of really awesome surprises that we've been working on for a year to make this release awesome. It's something that will be really exciting. The fans have been waiting. If you've been looking for Hush and it's nowhere to be found, it will be back soon. It will be everywhere. You'll be able to stream it. You'll be able to have it in your collection. And it's going to be worth the wait because we did some really awesome new stuff for it.
Wait, so who'd you just quote? Who said that?
Mike Flanagan did. So he had to like basically get the rights back for it himself.
Okay,
in order to put it somewhere else.
I thought you just made me eat my words because I thought maybe you were quoting the Netflix CEO or something. I was like, no, spoken too soon. But okay, that makes more sense that it was still Mike there. Okay, that's great. I didn't know that. I guess I didn't really realize that Netflix would like kind of surrender the rights to something that they had like that was an original. But if it's to Mike Flanagan, then that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I'm sure it wasn't easy though. I'm sure they made it work for it.
Movie's 11 years old now.
But maybe maybe he had a little leeway because he's made some like streaming TV hits for them, so like it's possible.
That, but good for him.
But yeah, I'm excited. At least we're gonna. That movie is very, very good. I haven't watched it in a really long time.
Yeah,
it is not.
You haven't been able to. I would watch it tomorrow if it popped up on Netflix. I haven't seen it in years.
But I definitely did enjoy it, and it's one of those movies that's short to the point, does its job. It's really tense, great atmosphere. I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
And
well, hey, what's this? Well, this one we talked about before, but it looks like there's more movement on a big merger with Paramount and Skydance. At one point, I know Sony was in the mix, but I think they got out of the mix on this. But it looks like it is definitely happening, and some people think this is good news, and some people think it's not. They were like, these mergers kind of can hurt output sometimes.
Right.
I mean, we've seen that a little bit with the Disney, 20th Century Fox merger from years ago.
Right.
But yeah, it looks like Paramount and Skydance have agreed to terms of a merger. A deal could be announced in the coming days. A Paramount Special Committee and the buying. Paramount Special Committee, David Ellison Skydance, backed by private equity firms Redbird Capital and KKR, agreed to the terms. The deal is awaiting sign-off from Paramount's controlling shareholder, Sherry Redstone, who owns National Amusements, which owns 77% of Class A Paramount shares. They said on Monday. I guess we just have to accept that it's coming. The agreement terms come after weeks of discussion and a recent competing offer from Apollo Global Management and Sony Pictures. It says, we received the financial terms of the proposed Paramount Skydance transaction over the weekend, and we are reviewing them, and it looks like it's moving forward. The deal currently calls for Redstone to receive $2 billion for National Amusements. They reported today Skydance would buy out nearly 3% of Class B Paramount shares at $15 a piece, or $4.5 billion, leaving the holders with equity in the new company.
Yeah, so I'm not too huge on big mergers like this. From what I understand, I was surprised to see that it's Skydance that will be kind of taking over Paramount, because Paramount's one of the big five. I recognize Skydance as a production company, I guess, or I don't know if they're production or distribution or both, but I'm just surprised at what appears to be like a smaller company taking over something as significant as Paramount. So I wasn't really sure about the details of that, but is that what Skydance is? A movie production
I think it's a production company. Production company.
I couldn't name anything by them, but I recognize it from several movies. But
and the deal is valued at $8 billion, an increase from the $5 billion offer on the table earlier. So they came back and threw that offer at them. They originally were to do for $5 billion. Under those earlier terms, Redstone would have received less than $2 billion for her stake, and the Class B shares would have bought out at nearly 30% premium at $11 a share, they said. And following the deal's close, Skydance and Redbird would own 2/3 of Paramount, and the Class B shareholders would own the remaining third of the company. A lot of people love Paramount Pictures, so they think it's like a true Hollywood movie studio, and you're going to lose that a bit in this merger. A lot of people think it's also going to affect the output, theatrical wise, so like what they're going to make. But Paramount has been making like a lot of movie deals recently, which some people were like, does that bode well for that merger? Are they like, I mean, they're still making moves as far as like getting movies and stuff out there. I don't know. I do think for movie studios mean that there's more chances for different kinds of content rather than it being under one umbrella, under a merged company. But I don't know, I'm not too thrilled about it.
Never thrilled about a big studio merger like this, because again, like you said, it's bad for competition, it's bad usually for output too, and we need more diversity and competition with our movie studios, not less. So wouldn't matter which names we're merging, it's all the same as far as I'm concerned.
And a lot of rich people are going to get more rich.
Exactly, and they'll probably have less options and choices as viewers as a result.
Which is unfortunate. This next one you kind of threw at me a bit. The Sony Pictures. I actually hadn't heard of it until you brought it up, so I looked it up. I guess Sony Pictures, to leverage AI and film production to cut costs, which is something that we've talked about before on the show. That is like one of the big uses for a movie studio and networks and streamers to use it, is because it'll be cheaper to go that route. And Sony is one of the first, this first studio to really openly talk about it like this, in a way as a cost cutting measure, I guess.
We have been complaining about the film budgets these days, so I guess this is kind of a retort to that, as far as like our opinions are considered. So I guess this isn't exactly the way that I would have thought studios would go about it. Can't blame them. Like, AI is absolutely going to revolutionize several industries, and including in many cost cutting measures. But it's funny. It's like, be careful what you wish for. We've been complaining about movie budgets and how sky high they are, and there needs to be changes. This is just not the way that I would have, not the first option I would have levied at them for doing this, but I don't blame them for, embracing new technology that's, going to be super helpful, but it'll probably cost people jobs. So that's never a good thing.
And this got brought up when he was at a Sony. It was on the Sony's Investors Relations website, and there was a Q&A, I guess, portion of it. And their reasons for using it are kind of what you suggested, with like budgets and box office. It says he said the CEO said industry-wide box office overall has improved for the pandemic, but still has not fully rebounded to pre-pandemic levels. So they are like, as in order to kind of combat lower box office, they want to try to make cheaper movies, but I feel like utilizing AI is not the only way to make a cheaper movie. I don't know. They seem to think so, and he wasn't clear either. There were no concrete goals or strategies that were laid out, but it was made clear that AI will be used going forward in their approach to making movies to lower costs. So I don't know. They're just open. And then, like, again, Ted Sarandos from Netflix, basically, there was one, I forgot what the soundbite was, but he said, "Don't worry, AI is not here to take your jobs." But clearly in some industries,
not fooling anybody.
Yeah. But it seems like this is the future, and I guess we just have to embrace it for what it is.
Yeah, at least for the bigger studios. I want to hold out hope for the smaller indie studios that will still give artists their chance to impact the industry. But if it's proven, if the big studios sort of guinea pig it, and it proves to be this really effective cost cutting measure for movie production, then I wouldn't be surprised at seeing it being wholesale adopted by the industry. But I think we're still a little while away from that. So here's hoping. But oh well, not a great exactly. It's a case of be careful what you wish for. We have been complaining about this, but I guess it remains to be seen how effective it'll be. But that is the last new segment we got before trailers and box office. So we got a few trailers that came out over the last few days to throw at you guys. And I think we're kind of on the same page with like the majority of them. Like, we've had a lot of trailers come out where majority of them we're on board with, some not so much. Sometimes we're split. But the first one we got down here is the Beverly Hills Cop trailer, which I don't have much to say about because I'm not seeing any of them. I don't even really know Eddie Murphy's character of Axel Foley at all. I haven't even really seen clips hardly from those movies, but the latest Beverly Hills installment trailer is here. I think it's the first look at the movie, is it not?
It had a teaser trailer, but this is the first like full official trailer for Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley. This is the fourth one. Full disclosure, the first movie is funny. Beverly Hills Cop was also one of those, like, in the 80s, like a huge like pop cultural phenomenon kind of movement in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
Because he was like, he's coming off of Saturday Night Live at that time. And it was his first really big movie as a movie star. And the second one is also funny. It's not as good. The third one is garbage. It's like not good at all.
When did the third one come out?
94. And they kind of make a reference to that in the trailer.
In the trailer, yeah. I thought that might have been what they were getting at.
And if this is going to Netflix, then a lot of people have had problems with this too. Because they feel like this movie could have done really well in theaters. I'm just saying this based on the trailer. I don't know if it would have done well in theaters because it doesn't really look all that great. I mean, I didn't even laugh that much during the trailer. I
watched it straight faced. I just also maybe if I was familiar with the other three entries, I might have got some of the more of the in jokes and whatnot, but it wasn't for me. I'm not like a massive Eddie Murphy fan. Like, there's a handful of movies and performances of his that like I enjoy, but for the most part, I think he's really sold out a lot of crappy, low bar comedies, and that's just what I associate him with. I'm like I said though, I'm not huge on like I'm not familiar with his like 80s and 90s career or any of SNL work, so I don't want to like take talent like appreciation away from the guy when I'm not that familiar with his career. But I will say, like, if there's anything I can say about this trailer, like there are some like good looking stunts and action sequences that look better than some. Yeah, but I mean, again, it's not enough that I'm not going to be planted on my couch catching this day one by any means.
Yeah. And for people that want to know what the movie is about, it says Axel Foley has returned to Beverly Hills after his daughter Jane's life is threatened. She and Axel team up with her ex-boyfriend and his old pals John Taggart and Billy Rosewood to turn up the heat and uncover a conspiracy. In addition to Eddie Murphy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in this.
I'm surprised to see him.
That was surprised to see him too. I was like, oh well, everyone needs a paycheck, so there you go. Yeah. I don't know. It just didn't look all that great, but maybe it's funnier and not trimmed down into a 2.5 minute soundbite. I don't know.
Eddie Murphy has kind of been on a little bit of a career comeback in the last couple of years, so maybe there's some more gas in the tank for him. But I guess I'd be curious to know if fans of the OG 3 movies are looking forward to this, or if this feels like an unnecessary remake reboot, which is kind of what I'm leaning towards. People are going to think about it, but oh well.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, you'll find out on July 3rd when it hits Netflix. And I'm sure Netflix will release a really nice press release saying that it's the number 1 movie on their streamer globally. And that's so
whatever that means.
Yeah. This next trailer, though, is better. Much better than we got a full official trailer for Beetlejuice. And it kind of, that teaser trailer was fun. And it was cool that we got kind of a look at what the movie was.
Mm-hmm.
This longer look also gives me the impression that this is exactly the kind of movie Tim Burton and company want to make, and I love the tone and vibe of the trailer too. Like there's some funny stuff in it. I think like mixing in like the OG cast, like with Winona Ryder, Michael Keaton, of course, and Catherine O'Hara, and then getting the new people in there like Jenna Ortega and Willem Dafoe and Justin Theroux, Monica Bellucci, who goes out with Tim Burton. I think they're married at that, but it seems like a good mix of old and new, and like doesn't feel like it's like trying too hard or anything like that. I don't know. I liked what I saw so far.
True. Yeah, me too. Honestly, I know we mentioned this about Glen Powell earlier, like seeming like he's in everything these days, but to me, by far the actor working today that I think is in everything is Willem Dafoe. Like I actually forgot he was in this, and when I saw in the trailer that he was there, I was like, of course he is. He's in literally everything these days, and I love it because Willem Dafoe is one of my favorite actors. But just crazy the movies that guy must have no life outside of making movies.
It just works.
Everything. But I'm with you. This looks great. Like the effects look, for the most part, what I can tell, look practical and very reminiscent of the ones used in the OG from '88.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that rewatch of the OG Beetlejuice in anticipation of this. Like this, for those that like Tim Burton and are used to his work, it looks like he is, staying tried and true to, his style of filmmaking. So if that is up your alley, then this looks promising. I love Tim Burton. So I'm excited as I could be for this movie. I'm like, Beetlejuice isn't like my favorite, like whatever genre that movie fits in by any means, but I think it's totally enjoyable, entertaining, classic.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, yeah.
And Michael Keaton is hilarious in it.
I'm excited to see him back.
That was one of the reasons when he got announced to play Batman back in I think it was '88 when they announced it, and everyone was like, this is like before the internet, so people had to like take out their anger writing to newspapers and stuff and they're upset
the
about
Beetlejuice
it.
Guy,
yeah, but he proved them wrong, of course. But I'm excited for it, and that comes out on September 6th, so that will be here before you know it.
Nice.
The next trailer is another one that got I didn't laugh that much during this one either.
I got one good laugh early in the trailer, but we're talking about a family affair, new romantic dramedy with Nicole Kidman, Zac Efron, Joey King, and company.
Yeah.
But the moment because again, this looks like nothing like I would ever touch with a 10-foot pole. Movie making qualities aside, I'm sure it looks like it'll be competent for that genre, but just nothing that interests me. But when Joey King walks in on Zac Efron and Nicole Kidman, getting steamy, and then she turns around in disgust and smacks her face. I'm not huge on physical comedy, but that just killed me. That was a great scene. And then I think I was, straight faced for the rest of the trailer, but it was a good for one laugh.
I mean, all of the people in this are talented.
It's exactly.
I
couldn't agree more.
nothing about it. Now, what I do find funnier, and this more people on the internet that made this funny. Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron were in this movie called The Paperboy, some years ago, and in that movie, she peed on him, and a lot of people were like, "Is this in the same universe as like that movie?" Like they were making like jokes about that. Yeah, she pees on him in the movie.
What is the context of that?
I forgot exactly because I haven't watched it in so long.
Does he have like a jellyfish sting or something, or is it
no? It's like this weird kind of like it's sexual.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay. So yeah. So at least they're familiar with each other.
I did not need to know
that. There you go. Fun fact about Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron working together for the first time. That being said, too, I just didn't see, and maybe it'll be more in the movie itself, but I didn't really notice any like combustible chemistry between them at all. Like, and that is kind of what
no, you're not wrong. I don't think so. And that's hard considering both of those. Like, I think Zac Efron's come a long way, obviously, since his High School Musical days. And I know he's not been in like award heavy contending movies with Iron Claw aside, even though it didn't get recognized for his performance. I think he's kind of slowly working up his resume towards more movies like this. And this seems kind of like he's holding on to some of the other types of movies that he's been doing over the last few years. But I still consider him a good actor, and Nicole Kidman obviously is a screen legend. She's fantastic. So to have those two, in a romantic movie together and to not feel that passion and chemistry is like disappointing. Like you'd expect it out of those people, but
true. I agree.
Yeah. Anyway,
and also, if you guys want to know what the movie's about, a young woman named Zara works as an assistant for movie star Chris Cole. That is until Chris falls in love with her mother. The film also stars Kathy Bates and Shirley MacLaine, are also in the movie. It comes out on Netflix on June 28th. It looks like a Netflix movie.
It does.
I mean, it's crazy because there's a lot of talent involved, but it just looks like it was made for Netflix.
Yeah. And it feels like a Nicholas Sparks movie times Netflix, but probably not that quality.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
This next trailer has mixed on. I didn't think it looked bad, but I also didn't think it looked all that exciting.
And considering who's attached and who's in it, I wanted more out of it. So that's why I'm leaning like negative out of this trailer. We're talking about Wolves here, directed by John Watts. This is the John Watts that did this MCU Spider-Man movies, right?
Yeah, and he wrote this movie too. So like this is written and directed by him. I want to because Brad Pitt and George Clooney have worked together before, like the Ocean's movies.
Right.
They have a really good chemistry and camaraderie as like friends and buddies, and they're usually fun together. And I should have been more excited by, I guess, like their kind of witty banter in this.
Right.
But I will see it. It just it didn't really grab me entirely though, and I'm still trying to figure out why it didn't entirely grab me.
Yeah, me either. Because like the premise is pretty cool. I guess it ended up by the end of the trailer and like a little bit maybe halfway through, it just came across like it was really just cashing in on that reluctant team up trope that I have never enjoyed in any movie I've ever seen. It kind of harkened back to the in the Marvels trailer back before it released last year in 2023 when Brie Larson's like, we're not a team, we're not teaming up. Like, yes, of course you are. Yes, you're gonna be teaming. You're not fooling anybody. And then like there's a moment like that in this trailer too that just made me think of that. And it's just never been something I've really appreciated in like a movie plot before. So I don't know, maybe, just not a great trailer doesn't mean the movie will be bad. I want to know what you think of it if you do end up seeing it. And I expect more out of Brad Pitt and George Clooney, I guess. I want more out of them together. Like they're a dynamite pair. Looks like that might be good for a few laughs. I don't know, but who knows? I do like kind of that it's bringing it, to me. It reminded me of like the character of the wolf from Pulp Fiction, like Harvey Keitel's character, like kind of a cleanup guy that cleans up, bad situations for people kind of undercover. I like to see that explored in a movie, like a full plot dedicated to that, but not in this fashion. I'd want it to be more like in a Tarantino style instead of like an action comedy.
Yeah, agreed. And for those wondering what it's about, I'm only like a small log line, but it says two professional fixers find themselves hired for the same job. and hilarity ensues. I guess.
Like that plot, that sounds good on paper for sure. I just didn't love what I saw yet, but I would give it a chance. Cast is, I mean, it's also got Amy Ryan, who I did not notice in the trailer.
I didn't notice either.
Yeah,
it was a lot of Pitt and Clooney though, like throughout the whole.
Yeah,
most of their scenes, I guess, to highlight kind of opposites. Two guys doing the same thing and like whose techniques are better and blah blah blah. Like some of the jokes are very obvious, like the whole like my thing that I do is cool, it's cool. Like, oh, I guess we'll do it your way. Like when they were like interrogating the one guy, I think it was midway through the trailer.
Yeah,
like I've seen this a lot.
Exactly, just did not feel refreshing.
But if you guys are interested, it comes out on September 20th. And guys, we saved the worst for last because the Venom.
I'm glad you said
it. Venom: The Last Dance trailer came out today as of this recording. We're recording on Monday.
Oh boy.
I can't. You guys, two of the movies have not been. I won't say the first one is horrible. It was entertaining in the moment.
Yeah,
and I understand
the high left quick though.
It made so much money, and even like post pandemic, Let There Be Carnage made money. There's an audience for it, apparently. I didn't like the second one at all. Like I was the first one I at least found entertaining, and you know what? There were things about the second one. I think Tom Hardy is committed to that part, and I'll give him that. And he makes it. If there's anything worthwhile about it, it's Tom Hardy's commitment to that role.
Right.
But this trailer feel like it's trying to be a mix of like a lot of the silly stuff that people seem to love about the movies. Like they love the kind of like back and forth between Eddie Brock and Venom, and like I find some of that kind of cheesy, and it's not really funny to me.
Never been anything I've liked about this movie.
But then it also kind of suggests later in the trailer, because this is supposed to be the last one. This is supposed to like end the
God willing.
Yeah. But it kind of hints at something a little bit more serious that maybe like like they'll and by serious I mean like Venom might finally like separate from Eddie Brock, and they were trying to like it seemed like by the end of the trailer they were trying to hint at that a little bit and make that like a little emotional. Good use of the song in the trailer. I did like that. The whole ground control, the Major Tom was playing in the background.
That wasn't bad. I think the horse sequence that was the cheese in the trailer looks like it'll be kind of cool. At least the look of it. I don't know how the action will play out, but like the symbiote horse kind of look cool. Yeah. That's about it.
It also looks like it's just like, which is what I had a problem with the second one. Like there were scenes in Let There Be Carnage that just looked like special effects, like goo. Like they're just like it just didn't look like it just like a bat like pin exploded on the screen. Every time I was like watching it, and watching this trailer, it looked like that too. They've never quite been able to, at least for me, make that character look all that great on screen, because he looks like you can tell it's a visual effect, like a lot of it.
Yeah.
So
I don't think the Sony Marvelverse is even trying anymore. It seems like I bet in a few years, like I can't imagine a universe of movies that are this bad. Like I don't think there's like even competition like when it comes to this Sony Marvel universe thing, and this looks like it'll just be like the crowning achievement of. I don't think it'll be like Morbius or Madam Web bad, but definitely could have rode the high from the first two movies, because I mean not quality high but box office high, and really tried and put more money into making this movie better. And it just seems like they are happy to put out shit and have people just flock to the theater to sniff it, because that is all it seems like it is. And I have not seen second one, but no. I won't. Don't worry.
And you would think, since this is the most financially successful of the ones they release, that they would at least try to make it good. And they don't. I don't really think they really care about continuity either, because unless this is some weird multiverse story, okay, Chiwetel Ejiofor is in this, but they made it clear.
Yeah.
They made it clear in the last movie, and then just the Sony stuff that some of those it's loosely connected to MCU stuff. So like having him be in there when he's also in Doctor Strange makes no sense, because that means that those things aren't connected, or you just don't care that people won't notice. Ray's Ifans is also in this movie. He's in the cast list. He played the Lizard in the Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
And then he also at least did the voice for the Lizard again in No Way Home when they did that multiverse story. So I don't know if there is a multiverse story going on there. It could be, but it didn't seem like they were hinting at one. I just feel like it was just bad continuity. They just don't care. They're like,
I don't think they care.
Yeah. Nothing about this got me excited. It wasn't like,
nope.
I
didn't even realize.
The trailer is long. It's over 3 minutes. So that was like a lot of nonsense.
Yeah. I didn't even know or pay attention to where this movie was in production. Definitely didn't expect to see the trailer, but it popped up early in the morning for me, and I just thought, I know we'll probably talk about this. I'm just going to watch it right now, and it saved me from watching it this evening because I did not need to go revisit it. But hopefully the last. It's a shame. Like I think I would still like to see Venom movies, just very opposite end of the spectrum of what we got from Sony.
Yeah. Yep. And for those that want to know what it's about, it says Eddie Brock and the symbiote Venom go on the run when they are hunted by both of their worlds. Still don't care. But I'm sure it'll make money though. It comes out on October 25th for all those who are interested.
Mm-hmm.
And now we are finally at box office. We had nothing to predict last week because studios typically take the week after Memorial Day. They take it off. I will say, and I will remember to send this to you now. I'm glad you mentioned it yesterday that you wanted In a Violent Nature, and then I was like, oh, I was out and I couldn't really send it to you in time.
Yeah.
But I will do that tonight. But that
Thank
movie,
you very much.
I just want to say, as a small indie, made $2 million over the weekend, and they also the independent film or channel that released this movie. They also did the Late Night with the Devil, and they made a little bit of money off of that before sending it to Shudder, and it looks like it's going to happen with In a Violent Nature as well. So that was one good news story from the weekend. Otherwise, box office was really weak this weekend. Garfield is number one, just because everything else is out. And Furiosa, like we said earlier, dropped 59% in the second weekend. It's not making that $168 million budget back, at least not here. It has made I think 110 million worldwide so far, but that's not good. Not enough.
Not as big a gap now after 2 weeks. It probably won't rein in much more. Maybe some streaming numbers might help it break even eventually. And I hope it gets at least to that point because I saw it. I think we chatted it briefly. Did we chat this movie? I can't remember. Yeah.
Down here, yeah.
I was very pleased with it. It's a shame that a movie like this it does deserve better. But then also, though, if there's something to be gleaned from this, it is, I know we are tired and we've mentioned it every chance we get about the overabundance of remakes, sequels, reboots, and that trend in Hollywood. This is kind of in that category, but, one of those ones I think that we, put a little bit more attention to and love for, but maybe it's also a sign that trend, isn't going to be as lucrative for much longer. So,
yeah,
it's just a shame that it happened to such a well-crafted movie from, a living legend in George Miller, but well.
And I do want to say, though, because I want to say that all box office is doom and gloom. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is still performing well. It is likely going to outgross, at least domestically, the last film in the franchise. It's at 140.1 million domestic right now. The last one made 146, and it's had really nice drops since it opened few weeks ago.
Okay.
And it's made $338 million worldwide. So I think that'll be enough to get a new series of films started. So it's not all doom and gloom. And also the Fall Guy, I mean, if it would have opened higher, I think it would have done a little bit better. It's had good legs and it's on digital right now. And even though it's had some of the smallest drops in the top 10 since opening. It just didn't open high. It just didn't open high enough. So it's only made $80.2 million domestic and $158 million worldwide, but they had like $130-something million budget, so that's the problem.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call this one it is in relation to budget going to be considered like a failure, but considering how things started and the way its legs have been, like it's the best they could hope for.
Yeah.
At this time. So what they're hoping though is that Bad Boys reverses the box office downdrams a bit. Bad Boys Ride or Die. And the early word on the movie is that it's really good. The early press screenings have been really good. Tracking for it is pretty good too. Some people think that it could go higher because this is the kind of movie that does attract a very diverse audience and across like race and genders and all that. Then all the movies have been very successful. So hopefully it'll get us out of like this little bleak box office thing that we're in right now.
That would be nice.
But right now, let's see if I can give you some tracking on it. It's tracking as high as 55. Wait, no, 55 is the low end. 60 to 65 is the high end.
So between 55 and 60?
65, yeah. Or 55 and 65, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, geez, that's quite the gap, 10 milli.
Yeah.
Okay, though. Yeah, not bad. Do we know what this movie has for budget? I'm just going to try and look it up.
Well, that's probably expensive.
Yeah, it looks expensive, but on that note, it looks good. Like it looks like there's a lot of money on the screen because the effects, the sunset you can see in those trailers do look pretty good. Let's see here.
Ooh, I'm seeing something as low as $100 million. Never mind.
For the budget?
That's not bad.
I can't find it right now. Wherever I'm looking, I'm on IMDb and I do not see it.
I see something on. All right, the Wikipedia page says it's $100 million budget, and then another site also says it's only $100 million.
Okay, well,
that's reasonable. Actually,
that is reasonable, especially considering fourth entry in the franchise, and it looks like they're just getting bigger and better. So.
Yeah,
I don't know why it's not on IMDb. I can't see it right now. Usually where the info would be, but maybe once it comes out, they'll put that up there. But okay, well, that's promising then.
Yeah, and by the way, the openings and grosses for the Bad Boys movies have been all over the place. Bad Boys opened in 1995. Remember, this is a much different time. This is like Will Smith is still in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, just becoming a movie star. Martin Lawrence is on a TV show. This was his first big movie. This is a much different time though. It made $65 million domestic total, and then $141.4 million worldwide. It's at a $15 million opening weekend in 1995, and that was pretty decent back then. The opening for the second, let me see if I can find it. Was in the high like 40 range for the second one. It ended up making 138.6 million domestic and 273.3 million worldwide. The last movie was a huge hit that probably would have done even more money if COVID didn't happen. But it ended up opening to $62 million when it opened in 2020. And it grossed $206 million domestic and $426.5 million worldwide. It is currently the highest grossing of the Bad Boys movies.
Okay, so this one got big shoes to fill though, for sure.
It does. I want to be so optimistic because it looks like it could be fun and capture a big audience, but we've had like a couple weeks of underperforming movies. So
well, I want you to go first. I mean, you're more familiar with the franchise, and I'm not, and I feel some type of way about the box office right now.
Okay,
that will weigh into my decision, but I don't want to say if it's positive or negative. But so we got a $10 million gap here. How do you think it's gonna stack up compared to tracking?
I'm gonna go with 60, like right on the nose.
60 on the nose. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty modest, like good.
Yeah.
I like that you're going.
I mean, it'd be good
tracking
for it.
I don't think it's gonna go above tracking, but I'm not gonna be too far from you. But I am feeling that there is kind of a downward trend in the box office right now, and I'm with you. I want to be optimistic and that it does well, but just following the trend right now and the time of year we're at, I'm gonna go a little bit lower at you and go 57 just to keep it interesting. Got a $3 million gap there, so this time next week we'll know. And there also is, I know we're not predicting it, but what did you say was also opening this week?
Oh, The Watchers is coming out. I really want to see it. I do want to see that.
I'll be keeping my eye on any reviews of that. That is from the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan. I think it's her debut, and I only say that because I didn't have this open and don't know her first name, but she's definitely got definitely got some hype behind her name. So hopefully that translates to the opening of her movie, The Watchers. It looks pretty good. I was happy with the teaser. So yeah. So I guess some people will have options this weekend at the box office, which is always good.
And go support them, so like we don't have to report more bad news about
exactly.
And
Yes.
I guess before we sign off really quick, I just want to mention that even though we're at number 2 now on Good Pods, last week we were at number 1 on the film reviews chart on Good Pods and the TV and film chart on there. So thank you for supporting us on Good Pods. We the guys at Death by DVD, they have been at number 1 for a while on Good Pods, and we switched with them for a week. That was fun.
Nice.
But they're also very nice, and they always like shoot us a review or rate our episodes on Good Pods as well. And I try to do the same to them, just because I see all the alerts coming in when they do it. So it's a reciprocal thing. So we have to support each other. But we haven't been out of the top 5 on Good Pods in a really, 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 really long time.
That's awesome for us. We appreciate you guys showing us some love.
So that's good. And also, I got these messages on G-Rolls, but if you ever want to message this to Back to the Blockbuster, because Jackson is also not in charge. Well, he can get into the page and check messages too. But some of you guys sent messages about the Director Showcase episode and said it was a really good idea and you guys really liked it. So thank you for that feedback as well. Because we were really excited about the episode. We think I thought it turned out.
I thought it was awesome. Really excited. Yeah. Have we what do you call it there? What is it when have we full launched what our second episode, who we're going to cover? I can't remember. I know.
I mentioned it at the end. Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know if that was a private conversation or if we were recording when we did it. But yeah, so at the end of July, we will have our second Director Showcase episode. Gaius's pick is Ben Affleck. So you guys, for those of you that liked our Scott Cooper episode, we'll have that to look forward to. I think they're pretty comparable in the amount of movies that they've directed. Yep. So that won't be too heavy a lift. And that's, right in the ballpark. So very excited to revisit some of Ben Affleck's films. And yeah, I'm glad to hear that people are enjoying that. That's a great episode, something new for the channel that we plan on, continuing throughout time. So excited that, we're off to a good start with that.
Yeah. So far, whenever we tried something new, it's worked out pretty okay. So that's good that you guys enjoy that. And I also I have a newer buddy I met like on New Year's Eve at a party, and then he was at another party that I went to like a week or two ago, and he had just started listening to the podcast and just put together that Jackson, that you do not live here, that you're all the way in Canada.
Really?
And then he, I guess I forgot what episode he said he was listening to, and he was just like, "You guys haven't even met." And I was like, "No, not in person." And he was like, "I don't know how you guys make that work as well as you do, because the rapport is really good." And I was like, he makes it easy. I don't know. I wish I could fully explain it. But,
I think it's just some natural chemistry. We got it going on. We both, got a passion for this thing. And that makes it easy. I mean, I say it time and time again, but, wouldn't definitely not be in this chair without Gaius. And you are a lovely co-host. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, it's awesum. But yeah, the shock look, he was like, "Oh, I was just listening to it." And he's like, "He lives all the way in Canada, like, and you haven't even met." I was like, "Yep, yep." A lot of gambles on that, but it paid off.
Absolutely. One day,
but yeah, one day. And that wraps up episode 176 of Back to the Blockbuster. As always, if you like what you hear here, you can hear even more of it on any of your podcast listening apps of choice, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods. But we are a playlist sponsored podcast, and they have a lovely Playlist Studio app for you to listen to our show as well. Then you can get that at the iOS store or the Google Play Store, depending on what device that you own. You can also find a lot of our episodes now on YouTube as well. They will be adding a new batch of those episodes there too. And if you want to check out more stuff, we'll be doing more reels for that as well. To add to the YouTube channel. It's the beginning. It's a work in progress, but we will be making sure that that's another part of the show that gets promoted well and hopefully takes us to the next level, which will be really nice. So yeah, more stuff to look forward to. We are really excited to get into the June anniversaries as well too. So look forward to those. I know we have Batman, Dead Poet Society, Spider-Man 2, and your listener's pick, which is we're happy with. It's fine. Alien, we're doing that. So you took the pressure off.
Thank you, everybody.
You took the pressure off when we should talk about that movie off of us, and we're gonna do it for you during the month of June. So that'll be really exciting as well. But yeah. For now, that's all I got. Thanks, Jackson. Always a pleasure talking movies with you and news.
Absolutely. Likewise, my friend. And thank you guys for listening to another episode of Back to the Blockbuster. Until next time.
Peace out.